Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Neo. Check out this gorgeous French graphic set on the screen. Definitely stay tuned to see how I got this done. So to get started, I'm just showing you this client's previous set. It is up on my channel, so check that out if you haven't seen it. It was the ombre textured French collab I did with Madame Glam in that beautiful pastel purple. She had that set for about a month. This client usually wears her nails for about that long. You can see there's a little bit of growth there. So she just came in for a redesign, not necessarily a refill and a redesign actually. So I'm showing you the process of how I like to get started. Most clients, she didn't have very much lifting. Most of my clients prefer to do a complete redesign, meaning they want a completely different acrylic situation. They may want an ombre or a glass nail, whereas before they might have had a full color situation. In her case, she wants something very similar. We weren't changing the acrylic, so I'm actually not going to be filing down completely to that clear layer. I am actually just going to be filing the product down, taking off that gel polish, any of the bling and texture, and just debulking. And where I'm going to be debulking is mostly towards the back of the nail, thinning it out, just because the apex has shifted forward because they have grown out on her a little bit, and you can see there's a little bit of length on these nails, so just rebalancing. So if you see me filing, it is not to remove the colored acrylic. We're actually going to be going in with the same color, and you can see I kind of left that nail alone. My purpose is to remove the previous design, debulk where necessary, and remove any possible lifting. This client has been doing really well with her nails actually. She doesn't really get a lot of lifting now that we've changed things up for her, so I'm just trying to make sure that we keep things consistent so that she can enjoy her nails, you know, like she's been doing. So in terms of my file down, I am using my favorite 5-in-1 carbide bit. This is a 3x coarse, extra coarse. You can find them everywhere. I get mine on Amazon because it's easy and the shipping is like super fast, but you know, lots of companies sell them. Just look up 5-in-1 bits. And I have my e-file all the way up at 35,000 RPM. So I know that it's uber aggressive. I just like to get in there and just start removing. I feel like if it's any slower, sometimes it kind of bogs down on me. So I kind of just let the speed and the, you know, the intensity of the bit kind of do the work for me. I don't really press down very hard. You don't have to with the situation. And as you can see, I'm using my Young Nails dust collector. Anytime I'm removing a design, I use this dust collector. It helps so much. It is not collecting every speck of dust, but it definitely helps. I would say it collects about 80 to 85% of the dust, which is better than nothing, right? So again, I am just making sure to debulk, remove the design completely, and just thin out any areas of lifting that I might see, especially using the back of the bit. The tip of the bit towards the back of her nail right here. If I see any light, I don't know what she was doing. If I see any light white areas that's, you know, indicating some lifting from that colored acrylic, I just use the very tip of this 5-in-1. It has tiny teeth, and I don't grind down. I just kind of thin out that area and then let it flake away from the pressure of the e-file. But as you can see, we are trying to keep as much of this product on as possible because we're going to do a refill with the same exact color. So for her poor little thumb, nothing crazy happened. She told me, it actually didn't have any lifting at all. She told me that she was putting on some shoes and slipped her thumb in the back of her heel and stepped down on the nail, and it just kind of snapped. And I was like, girl, really? She was like, I know, when I did it, I just thought to myself, why did I do that? But she held on. So I am actually going to be filing this nail down all the way to the clear. You can see I'm being a little bit more aggressive on this one because we are filing completely down. I didn't feel like removing it completely and re-tipping and then restarting the whole nail. So I will be showing you a little bit later how to kind of build back up a nail if a client does have this kind of situation, especially if you laid down some clear acrylic. This is definitely going to be your friend. So I'm filing down to the clear. You're going to actually be able to see her natural nail as I file through that product, but I'll show you a little bit later how we're going to fix her little thumb. Getting started like I normally do, spraying my client down with some alcohol and then just using this metal pusher to just push the skin back. As you can see, I'm not using the scraping motion like back and forth. I literally just place it at the skin and push very slowly so that the skin just kind of releases from the nail plate, and then we can get all of that exposed cuticle ready for removal. Once done with that, I am taking my diamond abrasion skiver bit. I love that it's pointy because I can really kind of get up under there, and I'm just using it as flat as possible. I'm not using it pointy like a pen or a pencil. I'm trying to keep it very flat or parallel to the surface of the nail so that we're not digging in and causing things like rings of fire or even poking the client. That's definitely possible with these pointy bits. I really like it because you can kind of get the tip right up under the lip of that skin and remove any excess cuticle that might be sitting up under there, but this is the prep that I like to do. And I have my e-file at a fairly slow speed. I don't use this very quickly. It is safe for the natural nail, so that's basically where I'm going to be focusing my attention. Once done with that, we're going in with our sanding band, and I'm going to actually be using this on the entire nail, including the previous acrylic. The purpose of that is just to kind of give it a kind of a scuffed up texture so that the new product we add on top will have something to stick to. It also helps in thinning out the seam from the previous acrylic to the natural nail so that when we apply again, there's no lifting. There you go. I'm using it to get rid of any polish that I might have not have caught before. I'm not burnishing, that's not the word. I'm just buffing her natural nail just a tiny bit. I'm not spending too much time there, just to get that ready for the new product. And I might use it on her skin if I see any excess dry skin on the sidewalls and her cuticle area, because it is safe to use there as well. I have the same speed, nice and low, nice and slow, nothing crazy to burn or to give like heat spikes to my clients. Just, you know, sketching up that natural nail and smoothing out the transition from the previous acrylic to the natural nail so that when we go in, we have a nice smooth surface to work on. In an effort to just make sure that the appearance of her nails are nice and gorgeous, I'm going in with this diamond abrasion ball bit. I love this bit. She actually loves, a lot of my clients actually love this part. They love just seeing the nail just get nice and groomed and clean with all the dead skin kind of flaked away. I use this at I would say like a medium speed. I can't give you an exact amount of RPM because my e-file doesn't have an LED display or a dial with numbers around it. So it is really just by feel. You turn it on and it just kind of goes. But I would say this is a medium to high speed, and I'm only using this on the skin around the nail, not on the actual nail. All right, it's prime time. Going in with my dehydrator and just giving her a nice good coating of dehydrator to make sure that we dry out that natural portion of the nail. You can see I'm focusing it on the back portion because that's where her natural nail is. And I'm just making sure, right? I am making sure that we dehydrate sufficiently so that there's no oil or anything to kind of interfere with the process we're about to get into. So to fix her thumb, I'm just going to be using a nail form. I could extend that clear acrylic base base. That's a really, really good thing to have down underneath your nails with clear, and then build from there. So no biggie that she broke it. We could just extend it without having to re-tip or anything like that. And I'm going in with her favorite. This is the Valentino primer. Works super, super well, and just giving a nice, good coating. So to get started, we are using some clear base. You see how helpful it is to have, and I'm just giving her her refill. So this is basically just covering up the grown out natural nail. I'm using a tiny bead because we don't actually want to build up any product with this. I'm just using it to cover the natural nail. This also helps if you have like fidgety clients who kind of, whoops, you know, touch primer with their bag and then there's dust on it. You have to remove, you know, this definitely helps if you have those types of clients. You just slap on a little coat of clear acrylic, it polymerizes, and then the client is safe to kind of, you know, do clienty things. But yeah, it's also really, really great because it, you know, there's so many benefits of having a clear base. In the removal process, it helps to give you a visual guide. It gives a smooth base layer. You can kind of build different designs on top of it. You can go glass one day, ombre the next, change colors, and having that clear underneath is just a really, really good, I said good and smooth foundation. So here I am building up the length of her nail again. Honestly, nail forms is not something that I use often, but I did use it a lot in nail school. For where I am in New York, for the state boards, you have to be able to build a nail with nail forms. It's a part of your practical exam. So, I mean, I'm not sure how it is in other states, but at least where I am, this is something that we had lots of practice in terms of nail school. So I can do it. It's just not something that I gravitate to. I like the ease of tips, but I have seen some like beautiful work from like masters online. And you can see I'm just building up the sidewalls from where that nail broke before, just making sure it's nice and stable. I don't want to just place one bead on top. I am building in product into those areas so that it's nice and connected all the way through, and we have the same thickness and length that we need. Nothing crazy. This is that clear acrylic layer, and then we're just going to build our color right on top. After that, I will cover the grown out natural nail as well with this clear acrylic. All right, so back to business. We are now going in with the actual refill slash backfill slash rebalance, whatever you call it, but we're going in with the same exact color. This is First Nude by Not Polish. This client is actually the only client to use this color, and I said to her, I was like, look girl, this acrylic is almost finished. You're gonna have to buy me a new one because you're literally the only person who uses it. And she was just like, fine, this is my color. Great, perfect. So I am building up with small beads. It is getting warmer, so I am noticing that in my workspace that my acrylic is setting a lot faster, so I have to adjust my application process. No biggie. Either, you know, get an AC unit or maybe put your monomer in like a cold water dish, but just being flexible with your acrylic application, especially if you're using different brands and things like that. They all react differently to temperatures and stuff. Just be considerate and flexible so that when you're working, you're not like, you know, making a mess with your clients. No problem. I'm using small beads, and we are just building up this nail. I'm going to focus on keeping the product in the center, getting a nice smooth. You're going to see me brushing for smoothness so that when I go in with my filing, e-file and hand file, I don't have to do too much work. And then just making sure we build up structure for the new length of her nails. We are not going to be cutting these down too much. So since they're a little bit longer, she needs the adequate structure. I'm not going to be clear capping. So every single nail is just going to get a nice recoat of the same exact color. This is First Nude by Not Polish. I am also using the Not Polish monomer, and you can see me using as many beads as possible, especially when it gets warm. I try not to focus on like 1 or 2 or 3 beads. I use as many tiny beads as I can. Again, when it gets a little bit warmer, the acrylic sets super fast, faster than you might you know, notice in the cooler temperatures. But yeah, my focus is, there you go, just building up a nice solid nail for the new length, and then making sure that the structure is adequate, and then we have a nice smooth appearance so that I don't have to do as much filing as possible. I say it often, but one thing I also like to focus on is building up the free edge tip shape of my nails with this acrylic application. I find that when clients come in after, you know, using their nails for a month, They're not as sharp as they were when they left. They're a little bit rounded or dull. So I like to use the acrylic application process to kind of remold the sharpness of my tips so that I'm not losing length in the shaping process. It's just something that I like to do. It makes my acrylic application a little bit longer because I'm constantly patting, but it's fine for me. But that's definitely just something to keep in mind as well. Once done with that application, we are going in with my favorite. This is a barrel bit, a medium carbide non-safety, and I've got it to a medium to high speed, and we're just smoothing out the surface of the nails, cleaning around the cuticle and sidewall area. You can see that I like to go around, and I love that it's a non-safety because I can get that tip, that sharp edge right in there to kind of seal the cuticle area. I love that. And then I like to go side to side, up and down the length of the nail. The longer the nail, the more I pull out the bit from the I don't know what it's called, the locking area, the locking mechanism. If it's a shorter nail, then I'll just push it in deeper so that I don't need that much extension. But I find that when I'm working on a longer nail, I need the bit to be a little bit longer away from the e-file, just so I can use that side to side motion without it getting, you know, clinked on or like touching the e-file. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the same process for the most part, just filing side to side up the entire length of the nail. Sometimes you'll see me swipe my thumb down the length of the nail. That's just me checking to see if I can feel any lumps or bumps or ridges or any unevenness on the surface. And then I like to go around the sidewalls and cuticle area, nothing crazy, just to seal that in and make sure that it's a nice and smooth appearance. And now it's time to file. I am using, this is not one of my favorite hand files, but it's a 100 grit, and as you can see, it's very flexible. It's not a super stiff file. So when I am hand filing, I prefer to really brace the client's nails, especially if they're longer, kind of like this one. You're gonna see me wrapping my fingers around the nail. That's just me acting as a counter pressure so that the client isn't getting much of that wobble that happens with the filing process. And my goal is just to sharpen up the shape. Sometimes I might surface file the nail if I feel like I can, you know, debulk a little bit more or smooth out a certain area, nothing crazy. But for the most part, at this point, the surface of the nails look really great. I am just looking to sharpen. And she was like, can you make it a little shorter? And I'm like, oh man. But I am just making sure that it's nice and square. You can see how nice and sharp that is based on, or compared to when we first started the set. They were a little bit dull, but I don't have to do too much filing. But always support the nail when you're filing and be cautious of the client's sidewalls. You can see that I keep my fingers fairly close to where the skin is of my client. That's because when you're using these lower grit hand files, they do have the capacity to kind of slice through the skin. So I always try to keep my fingers right at the sidewalls of my client so that if it does do that, it catches me before it catches them. No biggie. There you go. I'm surface filing just a tiny bit, pulling the skin away, and then just, you know, making sure that it's a nice, tight, sharp, square shape. Because we knew that we were going to go in with some gel polish application, I am just quickly buffing her nails, and it looks super fast on camera, but that's just because it's sped up and it's already a fast process anyway. But just taking this little buffer and just surface buffing the nails, what this is doing is just smoothing it further, but then leaving a very fine texture on the nail so that the gel has something to stick to, nothing crazy. So I actually do send my clients to wash their hands, but when they come back, I do also spray them down with alcohol again. That's just in case there's any oils or chemicals in the moisturizers in the soap, or if they touch their face, anything. I just want to make sure that it's completely dehydrated and sanitized, just so that we are ready to go for gel polish and there's nothing that's gonna interfere with that adhesion. So I'm actually getting started with this black striper gel polish thing. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a black gel polish striper. You can get them pretty much everywhere. I get mine on Amazon. I've got lots and lots of sets, and we are just going to start off with a half kind of diagonal French across each nail. And I'm not building up too much for intensity, and I'm not doing a super dark coat or thick coat. When you're using super pigmented colors like black, purple, deep blues, things like that, you want to work in thin layers rather than a thick layer to get coverage, because light has to pass through these colors to cure. And if you apply a super thick layer, it will not cure. You'll get like ridges in the surface of the product. So it's best to work thinner than not. And I'm just taking my time to build up a nice sharp kind of diagonal line from one corner of the sidewall all the way down to the opposite free edge. I'm going to clean up as necessary and then have the client cure. And this is happening on every single nail. Once done with that, we are going to take some white striping gel polish, and we're actually going to build up an opposite kind of French, but we're not going to fill it in. I'm going to start off by going across the free edge and then going up the sidewall, and then just build the opposite line, like if I was going to do a white version of the French, but just I'm not filling it in. So it's kind of like an outline on the opposite side of the nail, if that makes sense. We thought it was really cool and graphic. We actually thought for a while of doing this in different colors, but I think the black and the white was just classic and didn't require too much. It didn't take away too much. It was just really edgy and cool. And I just think it's interesting to watch these videos or just see clients come in with one thing and leave with a completely different vibe of a set. Like she came in with these really soft and dainty flower nails, flower French nails, and she's leaving with this super edgy black and white graphic design, which is super cool. So I'm just making sure that everything connects nicely using my liner brush, kind of letting it do the work. The beautiful things about these liner brushes is that the brush is super long. Don't worry about making super, small tiny strokes. Just lay that brush on the nail and kind of drag it, and the brush will kind of do the work for you. The less you do, the better it's going to be. Once done, I'm gonna have her cure again. Now I'm going to be going in with some bling. I am adding one stone right at the cross of the two colors. We thought it was really cool and just really simple, where you get just a touch of sparkle. Guys, we love the sparkle, right? So just a touch of the sparkle, but nothing too crazy. I'm using the Zulay Bling adhesive, and we're using really tiny rhinestones because we didn't want the stones to take away from the nails. We just wanted to have a touch of something sparkly. I can't resist. Final step for us is to top coat. We are going glossy. This is Gloss It by Not Polish. So it's a nice not polished kind of set. And as you can see, I'm painting over the rhinestones, but don't freak out. Don't worry. I will wipe them off a little bit before curing, but I'm just making sure to give a nice coating to the entire nail, making sure that the gel polish gets all the way to the sidewalls, especially since we have that French on both sides going all the way deep up there. And I will wipe off the rhinestones, just giving it a nice coating, cleaning my sidewalls and or cuticle area as necessary and the free edge, and then wiping off the rhinestones and then having the client cure for a minute. So to clean my rhinestones, I just take a little bit of paper or a lint-free wipe, nothing crazy, dip it in some alcohol, and I just rub the top of the rhinestone off. When you paint over your rhinestones, it kind of removes the facets which catch the light. We don't want that, so there I am wiping them off, and then I'm cleaning my sidewalls and free edge if necessary, fixing the camera too. And then I'm gonna have the client cure, and then this set is pretty much done. Check this out, super clean, super crisp and graphic. Let me know what you think about this set. It was so cool, and I really just love the transformation of one set to another when a client comes in with one thing and leaves with another. Let me know what color you would do this in. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.